I'm here with Luis Vicente Leon. It's the 28th of September, Washington, D.C. Luis Vicente, thank you very much for this interview.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, I would like to ask you about the issue of undecideds. This year in the Venezuelan elections, with pollsters, the biggest issue of discussion has been the number of undecideds. What is Dr. Nales' methodology for dealing with undecided respondents?
First of all, I have to say that this is not anything new for us. You know, when you go to the field and ask people about politics, a group of people don't like to say what they're going to do. It's absolutely clear that you have the opposition people, you have the Chavismo people, and you have the independent people. In the independent people, part of them are open and they want to say what they are going to do, etc. But part of them don't want to talk. And it's not just because they are undecided. First of all, it's a non-respondent people. I prefer to call them not respondents. Because undecided means that you are waiting something. You are waiting for the end to decide who are you going to be the candidate, etc. No. This group of people, the non-respondent people, is a mix of clusters, a different groups of people. Part of them are really undecided. People who is going to decide at the very end if they are going to vote for Chavez or for Capriles. The second group is the people who is not going to vote at all. No, abstentionists. The people in Venezuela, they don't like to say that they are not going to vote because the criticism about the people who don't vote is so high in Venezuela. So the people who don't like to vote, and I am talking about average 25% of the people in a presidential election, they are not saying to everybody that they are not going to vote. You know, they prefer to say, well, I don't know, maybe I am waiting, etc. But the reality is that an important group of people in Venezuela is not going to vote at all, as they did in the past. And the third group inside the non-responding people is the people who is absolutely decided, but they don't want to say anything to an interviewer. And why? Well, could be because some of them are afraid. It's a possibility. But the second possibility is that they think that the vote is secret. And they don't want to share with a perfect stranger what they are going to do. You know, it's their right. They have the right to say, I don't know, nobody, I'm waiting, or simply, I don't want to say you my decision. So, when you have this, and you compare it with the past, it's not true that we are in front of something absolutely different as the election in 2006, 2000, or 1998. If you check the data at that time, you're going to find that in almost every election, over the total of the people who was interviewed, you are always having from 15 to 20% of the people not answering questions.
So is this something that's typically Venezuelan, or is this typical Latin America, or just polling in general? Because, for example, in the U.S. elections right now, there's only 5 to 7% that are undecided. Why would there be so many undecided in Venezuela in particular?
I think the Venezuelan case and other Latin American countries are a little bit different than the United States, because in the United States, these 5% or 6% of undecided people is in reality undecided people. But you don't have any problem telling something for a pollster in the United States. But you have a lot of different things in Venezuela. First of all, the abstentionist. If you are abstentionist in the States, you are proud to say that. You are going to say, I don't want to vote, and it doesn't matter. You know, and nobody is going to say you that you are a jerk, or you are some, anti-Venezolano or anti-Americano, etc. This is not true. It is your decision, and everybody is going to respect what you're going to do. But in Venezuela, this is not the case. The majority of my friends, if you say to them that you are not going to vote, they are going to say that you, in fact, are attacking democracy, and you don't understand your duties and your rights. And they are going to say that democracy is based on the vote, and it's impossible that you don't understand the importance of your vote. This is what they are going to do. They are going to say to you in Venezuela. So why I am going to be, exposed to a criticism in front of all my friends if I decide not to vote? I prefer to say, I don't know. It's easier.
Right.
So a lot of different situations between Venezuela and the United States. In fact, imagine for a minute that you are an independent guy, and somebody very, unknown for you, touch your door and ask you, what are you going to vote for? Why you think that everybody easily is going to say something? Part of the Venezuelans are going to say, you know what? The vote in Venezuela is a secret, and I don't want to share it with you.
Right. So this is kind of a problem for pollsters, and a poll is basically to try and understand public opinion and be able to understand what's going to happen, understand elections and whatnot. Wouldn't it be better to try and project, find some way, either drop them from the sample or find some way to assign the undecided voters or the non-respondents a certain, in one direction?
This is what happened. At the very end of any election, the analyst or the pollster has to make some hypotheses and create a scenario, because the direct data is not going to help you to know what is going to happen. Even when the non-responding people is small, right now it's not so high, it's about 11% of the people. So I am not talking about 20 or 30%, I'm just talking about 11. If the gap in any election, if the gap between the candidates is so high, it's a big one, you don't have any problem. Maybe you are going to analyze if the difference is going to be 5, 10, 15, or 20. But you are absolutely sure, as we were in 2006, that somebody is going to win without any doubt. For example, we didn't have any doubt in 2006. We said clearly Chavez is going to win. We did it in the recall referendum in 2004 as well. No, Chavez is going to win. Right now, the gap is smaller. The election is, closer, at least. Is when the gap between the candidates is smaller than the quantity of people not answering questions, you are always into troubles. Right. You have to make some hypotheses with them, because otherwise you can be absolutely out of focus. In this moment, for example, we have 3 scenarios. We are not presenting just one data. The probability that the ending of it is exactly the same as the poll exists. Maybe we are going to have the gap that the polls directly give to us. But maybe we have different scenarios. For example, if we analyze the undecided people in Venezuela right now, the undecided people or non-responding people was about 21% in May, and now it's 11. It means that half of them decided in the last month. If we analyze the path of them, if we check what they did in the last month, the people who decided, how they decided, well, we found that about 83% of the undecided people, the May undecided people, decided for Capriles. They are going to vote for Capriles. And this is the reason that the gap is smaller right now. If 83% of the people, the undecided people or non-responding people decide for Capriles, we can guess that the path of the 11% of non-responding people we still have in the poll could take the same way. And we can say, well, maybe, and it's our first scenario, 83% of this 11% is going to vote for Capriles. If it happens, the result right now is going to be 50 against 47. and it means 3.2 percentage points difference. If it happened, it means that we are in a tight situation right now, and this is the intersection between that analysis and, for example, our main competitor, Consultor 21, and we can conclude that the election is going to be so tight. But what happens if this is absolutely optimistic? And for example, maybe the first half of them is easier, but the last 50% is not so easy for Capriles. But we made another scenario. We said, well, what is the self-definition of the no-responding people? And we discovered that the main definition for them is independent, neutral people. These neutral people, we have neutrals, non-respondent people, and we have neutral who said what they want to do. 56% of the neutrals who said to us that they are going to vote, said to us that they are going to vote for Capriles. If we, again, take this part to understand what is going to happen with this 11% in the 7th of October, if the 56% of them are going to vote for Capriles, the result in this case is about 8.8 percentage points. So Chavez is above with 8.8% in this scenario. And the last one is what happens if the non-responding people act as the people who decided, the decided people. Well, the decided people, we know them, the gap is 10 percentage points between these two. So if we use it as a path, we are going to obtain about 12 percentage points gap. In this case, Capriles is, into troubles to win because Chavez is 12% and 12% is enough to say that Chavez is the favorite one in the third scenario. What is going to happen? I don't know. I absolutely sharing with you my own opinion. I don't know. I just can say that the scenarios in Venezuela comes from a tight situation to a Chavez winning with a 2-digit gaps, and everything is possible right now. And what is important is that the trend in the campaign is in favor of Capriles, but the numbers in absolute terms is in favor of Chavez.
Okay, and the last question is, if there's one thing that you think people generally don't understand about the elections and polling in Venezuela, what would it be?
I think that the majority of the people is based on emotions and wishful thinking. So they think that what they see is what is happening. This is not true. For example, when you see a lot of people on the street and you say, oh, this guy is winning because everybody is on the street, you are measuring the motivation, but you are not having the size of the group. It's absolutely clear that the opposition is by far more motivated than the Chavismo group. Why? Because it's normal. You are not going to see any little town all over the world that the people go to the street to say thank you to the president of the water company. But if you are having problems with water, the majority of the people in this town is going to the street to protest. So the rejection, the level of approval or rejection is so different. If you are protesting, you are more motivated, and you are going more to the marches, and you are going more to be, talking and criticizing, etc., etc., etc. So it's better to see the pulse, that the emotions that you can feel on the street, because feelings, are not the best friends for a political analyst in Venezuela.
Okay, well, thank you very much for talking with me, Luis Vicente.
Thank you.
This is Luis Vicente Leon, Data Analysis, the 28th of September, 2012.